One second here. First off, I would like to tell you that everything we do around here is based around this motto right here: simple in the field and powerful in the office. Now, we know there are many problems to solve when it comes to field data collection, but first and foremost, the problem that really seems to pop up the most is this right here: paper timesheets. People round off their times 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. Sometimes you can't even read what the person's saying. And according to the American Payroll Association, the average field employee over exaggerates or rounds their time by 41 minutes every single day. And on top of that, to enter that person into payroll when you're using paper timesheets, it takes about 8 minutes for each employee. Now, we know that time and attendance and paper timesheets is a major problem, but there are more problems than just this when it comes to field data collection. We know you're risk managers, and on average, 60% of construction companies' costs are labor related. Our goal is to help you manage this risk the best we possibly can. And that's why we've developed a solution that we feel like has changed the game. And there's 5 parts to this solution that I'm going to be talking about today. First is collecting and tracking accurate field data in real time, and then delivering the data to and from the office wirelessly. And this is going to allow you to manage your labor, projects, progress, budgets, equipment, whatever it may be, and document and capture field events. And finally, last but not least, integration. We integrate with over 100 different accounting softwares. To sum this all up, the solution is the AboutTime mobile resource management. Now first, I'm going to be talking about collecting and tracking. We run on familiar mobile devices, and we run anywhere, anytime, even if you're disconnected from the internet. So if you're at a job in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any internet connection, that's not a problem. All the information is going to be stored on that mobile device, and once you hit that internet connection, you can sync it up. But of course, we do run on the internet connection as well, and that just goes right back to the office in real time. We have minimal steps, big buttons, and we're very menu driven. We like to say that we're as easy to use as an ATM. If you could pull 20 bucks out of an ATM, you're going to be able to clock into AboutTime system and no problem at all. And the reason why we do this is because we want to make it easy for the field workers. We want to make it, going back to our motto, simple as we can in the field. And we know that's a big deal for your field workers. A web clock is also offered. We find this is really good for office workers who work in the office and want to clock in that way. But really, if you have an internet connection and a browser, you're going to be able to clock into AboutTime anywhere you want. Now, there are a couple different ways you can clock in. The first way is a PIN code method. Usually people do a 4 or 5-digit PIN code, but you can do up to 12, and it's just a standard method. Or you can use our fingerprint system, which is called biometrics. Now, some construction companies do wonder if this can be a very reliable solution for them. And we actually had one customer put it to the test. He has a bunch of construction employees that go out and get their hands dirty and get nicked up out on the job. So he rubbed his finger in some dirt and put it on the biometric scanner to see if it would work, and he clocked them in. And he took it one step further. If that wasn't enough, he rubbed it in some grease and put it on the scanner again, and it clocked him in again. And he went as far as saying, sometimes my employees gets their fingers nicked up. And so he actually, it sounds crazy, but cut his finger, was bleeding, and put it on the biometric scanner, and it actually worked. It just shows that this can be reliable in many different situations out in the construction industry. Now, this is how it would look if an employee clocks in. Simple as that, just the big menu-driven buttons as well. And then it can be as simple as your foreman clocking in multiple employees at once, whichever you prefer. You can also track cost codes, units, and tasks throughout the day. And we do offer a GPS and geofence, so you can see where your employees clock in and clock out. We're not going to track them all day or anything like that. That would drain the battery on the phone within a couple hours. But we are going to mark where they clock in and out and see if they're actually at the job when you're paying them. All these, you can do field reviews and edits and approvals right on the device. So if you wanted a manager to sign off on any hours for that day, you could do it right on the device and send it back to the office. We also have an after-the-fact digital timesheet. if that worked best for you, you could enter your hours in after the fact, towards the end of the day. And we just like to refer to this an intern step towards real time. And with these as well, you can do field reviews, edits, and approvals, just like before, right on the mobile device. Now this is where our integration comes in. As you see here, this is just a small list. We integrate with over 100 different accounting softwares, and really one of our strong points here. But the big thing about this is AboutTime pulls budgeted man hours and units from your accounting and job cost software. What we're going to do with this is we're going to take your labor units and your hours, and we're going to stream them in real time. So as employees clock in and out, you're getting that information as it happens. Now we're going to take this information and take the accrued hours and units and compare them against the budgets that you've set for that certain job. And then we're going to take that current job progress and send it back to the mobile device. Now the reason why we're doing this is we're trying to give you the right amount of information and the critical information that you need out on the job site, and because it affects your job. I know one example of this is a construction worker who owns this company down in North Carolina, and he would give his supervisors big stacks of paper every Monday, and you would have every job report, all the budgets, the information that he felt was important. He got to the point where he's thinking, I just don't think any of these guys are actually looking at my information I'm giving them. So one week he put a bonus check in every single stack of paper for his supervisors, and you know how many of those got cashed? 0. None of those got cashed because he was giving them too much information and not the critical information that they needed when they were out on the job site. Now when we send this back to the mobile device, we're going to flag when you are above budget. So you see here on the screen, metal fabrications is over, and we're going to flag it for you and highlight it red and let you know that when you're out in the field, you need to make the adjustments. And the cool part about this is usually you have to wait 2 weeks for the payroll to go through. At the end of the week to gather all this information, we're giving it to you on demand, and it can be very valuable. This is how it would look like with the units. And then finally, we're going to give you a nice summary of your productivities, once again, on demand. Now, the reason why this is so important is because it can save you time and money. This is Susan Hefferman, an accountant with Martin Zombeck Construction Services in New York. It says, I would say we have saved close to $200,000 on a job by knowing what our average labor rate was and the accuracy of the time being imported. We have seen an immeasurable return on investment with AboutTime. And that is a very powerful statement that we take to heart. Now we're also going to allow you to manage assets. So you can track your labor and asset usage together, or you could also track it separately, whatever would work best for you if you would like to track your labor and asset usage. Now documentation is also a huge part of the construction industry, and we understand that. A couple ways that we give that to you is through job photos and even text and audio notes. Job photos is a very valuable tool, and it was shown by one of our customers. They're a roofing company, and they do a lot of warranty work. So they finished a job, and a few months later they got a call from that same customer and said, hey, we're having another issue with this roof that you fixed. So they went back to that job site and looked at the new issue. They pulled up their job photos from that job that they sent, and it was completely organized down to the day and the time. And they had text notes in there as well. They realized that this new issue was completely separate. They showed it to the customer, and instead of eating the cost for that job, they got paid for the new job because they documented well enough and proved that this was not their fault. Text and audio notes can also be sent throughout the entire day if you have a foreman that wants to send it back to the office, or even employees if you'd like them to. Employee feedback questions could be really valuable, even though it seems like such a simple idea. Did you get hurt on the job today is a really popular one. We have a former contractor that actually had an employee that came back on a Monday, said, you know, my shoulder's really hurting and it's a big problem, and I got hurt on the job on Friday. Well, he knew that this guy went skiing that weekend, and he didn't see anything on Friday that would lead him to believe he got hurt. But he didn't have the validation, didn't have any documentation of what happened on Friday, and so it actually cost him $250,000 worth of workers' comp issues, all because he didn't have the documentation. And this one question could have saved him that money. You can also ask, did you take your required breaks today? Or, are you coming to the Christmas party next week? Whatever you feel like may be important to ask your employees at the end of the day. Now, we're also going to give you alerts. So we're giving you visibility as this stuff happens, whether it's overtime, weather, budgets, GPS or geofence, job photos, whatever it may be. We're going to have alerts on key events, and you can send them to individuals or certain groups, and they're automatically going to be emailed to you. So whatever you feel like may be important, if it's overtime or weather, you can send to a certain group or even an individual. It's up to you, but once again, just giving you visibility as this stuff happens out on the job site. Now, this is a deeper look into the weather dashboard, and this can also be really good for documentation. Think if you're laying concrete, for just one example, and you lay concrete and your customer calls you back and says, hey, the concrete's cracking. I think you laid this on a day that was too cold. You can go back and say, no, we laid it this day, this is the weather, and this is the temperature it was, and it just provides you with the documentation you need if you ever have a question on a bill that you have. And the same thing, you're going to have automated email alerts, customizable alert thresholds to individuals or groups. Forms Express is something really cool that we have. It really allows you to create virtually any form on a mobile device. So you see this form on the left, you can hardly read the handwriting. We already know you have enough paperwork to deal with. The last thing you want is more, and you got to call the person up and ask them what they wrote down. Sometimes you don't even know what they're talking about. We're here to solve that by virtually giving you any form on the device. So taking it off paper, putting it right at your fingertips, whether it's customer receipts, safety forms, purchase orders, we can have a form and fill that out on the job site and send it right back to the office. Now, really quick, I'm going to give you a mobile demonstration just to show you how simple it is out in the field and how we can clock in. Now, this is the employee clock in. So you see that he is typing in his PIN code, and now he's going to just hit in, and he's going to have a list of tasks or cost codes that come up, and he's going to pick his cost code for the day or for that hour, whatever it may be. And now all he's got to do is hit accept. So he's clocked in right there. Once again, very menu driven, and something we take pride in is making it a very simple format to clock in. Now this one is going to be the supervisor, so he's going to hit his PIN code right here. He's going to clock in. This time he's clocking in multiple employees. So he's clocking in himself, Josh, Robert, and then he's going to hit the in button up here. This time he is going to change the location, which you can make available or not available to certain employees. He's going to pick About Time. And then he's going to, same thing, pick the cost code that all those guys are working on right here. All he's got to do is hit accept, and those three guys are clocked in. Whichever way you prefer, both are simple, just as easy to work as the other. Now, once again, for your time, I really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. I want to open this up for